Good morning, guys. Good afternoon and good evening from wherever place you're watching, depending on the time you get to watch this video. Let me take a moment to welcome those that are just joining in for the very first time. If this is your first time seeing my face, karibu sana to this YouTube channel. Feel at home. My name is Anne Munaji and I'm so happy to have you here. Please stick till the end, and if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, I am giving you some few seconds to please go and just click the subscription button and subscribe. It's totally free of charge. You do not have to pay any money. Plus, it only takes a second. My returning subscribers, my gang, my people, my supporters, what can I do without you guys? What can I literally do without you guys? I am so grateful for the support, for the love. You guys have been watching my videos. You guys have been liking and commenting and sharing. I do not take it for granted. I really appreciate you. I want you to know that you are loved and appreciated in this space. And I hope you stick for a long time, not just today or last week. Please just stick with me. Let us learn together. Let us grow together. Let us relearn together, outgrow things together. Let us create a beautiful, big family that, will be coming here at Anne Munaji's YouTube channel each and every day. So last week, we talked about some of the big conversations that every partner or every couple should have before getting married, before they get to say I do. We talked of some very basic, or if you'd want to call them, important conversations that every couple is supposed to have. And we mentioned children, we mentioned money, we mentioned religion, we touched on politics and worldview. We talked of a bit of culture. I'm sure there's so much we tackled on the previous video, and I promised you guys a part 2 of it. I really got amazing feedback from most of you, and many were asking, so Anne, how do we get to ask these questions? At what phase of, the courtship or dating period are we supposed to bring them up? And my answer to you is, from the very moment you guys start dating, start talking about these things so that you may get to know if this person is aligning to the picture that you have in your mind of how a marriage should look like. If your goals are not aligning, if your dreams are not aligning, if the idea of marriage that you have in your mind is not, complying to that which your partner has, then if you guys seek, I would advise you guys to go to the next step of seeking counseling. And I think a marital counselor is at a better place to help you guys bring your dreams and your visions together. And at that point, if you guys cannot still agree on very important things, then there's no need to continue. There's no need to say I do. But I am very sure there is a ground that brings people to an understanding of what marriage really is, when there's someone highly experienced than them, someone that has gone through this process, someone that understands it, gets to sit down with them and just have this conversation without filtering, without, without hiding any important information, without faking anything. You just need to sit down with a pastoral counselor or a marital counselor or someone, a couple that has been in marriage, that understands marriage, a couple that is willing to be vulnerable with you guys, so that you may be able to see the light of what you're entering in. I hope I've answered that question. And so we continue with our part 2 today. So today we are even going deeper. People that are married will understand and relate. These are things when they hear me conversing about them, they will really sit here and be laughing about it, because these are things they have gone through, they have seen, they have experienced. Not the wedding things, but the everyday life things. You know, things that once you've stepped in your home, after saying I do know you in the house. So if you're dating, you're engaged, you're almost getting married, or stick and stay with me, because this is very important. So because this is my YouTube channel and you guys have to relate with me, I'll be using some 2 small examples here and there. Many of you, most of you know, many don't know, I am married to an African who is not a Kenyan, and who comes from the other central side of the world, DRC. And their culture is very different from ours. How they greet each other, how women speak to men is also very different. Mostly if you interact with ladies from their side of, the world, they are very soft spoken. There's a way they've been trained, and it's very different from we Kenyan ladies. So now we've said I do, everyone is gone, now it's 2 of us, we are in our house, and it's the first weeks. Yeah, of course it's the honeymoon season period, and everything is just nice. So one day there's the way we just speak as as Kenyan ladies. So there's this one time I'm just speaking, and he's like, you know what, babe, I'm not your sibling. I'm not your sibling. You cannot speak to me like that. I was like, how have I spoken? And for a moment, the first thing you want to do when someone tells you, the immediate response you'd want to give when such an accusation comes up is defense. You'd want to defend yourself, because how have I spoken? How have I spoken? According to me, I feel like I haven't done anything wrong. And he said, your tone comes out very rude. I'm like, Mimi, how? This is how I speak. This is how I am. Why would you even tell me that? Then it escalates to, an argument. And those are things no one talks to you about. So that by the time we are coming to an understanding of, you know what, I cannot speak the way you're used to girls speaking, and he cannot also tolerate someone speaking like they're arguing. So we have to come and meet in the middle. But before that, there used to be so many arguments escalating from the same. It was not a very beautiful period, by the way. It was not, because I was feeling attacked, but then I was also returning the same. You also have to understand, I'm not coming from that particular side of life. I am not used to. So he throws, I throw, he throws, I throw, and by the time we're realizing, we've spent so many days or months on such a simple thing that can just, end if we come and meet each other in the middle and, accept there's a side of us that cannot change but can be improved. So questions like, how can I, okay, now that I cannot change my tone, how can I change my conversations or transform my conversations to sound more polite and not come out as offensive? Because if I continue speaking like this, my partner will not be happy about it. Now to him, how do I come to an understanding that this girl, I've just married her, but there's a whole life she's been living, and this is what she's been used to. This is how she talks. This is her tone. Where do we meet? So it took us time to just come and understand each other. Right now we laugh about it. We are 3 years in marriage, so that is no longer something we really fight about. We have understood each other. It's a conversation. With these things, you also have to be patient because it's something that comes pole. You don't just wake up and things are aligning. You have to go through those arguments, then for you to come and meet somewhere. Where am I going with this? I want us to touch on culture. But how your partner lives daily culture is not just about tribe or language. It is how life happens in your home. How do you greet each other? What is considered polite or rude? How do you show care? How is respect shown? For example, I don't know about you, but one of the things we also had to agree and change is how I would welcome him at home, how he will also receive me when I'm back, how he would also check on me when he's just coming in. Initially, how I used to do it at home is not necessarily how he wants it to be done here. Those are things we had to work out and ensure he's welcomed well and he feels loved, like someone is excited that I am home. How was I used to doing it with my dad? My dad has arrived. It's Karibu Baba. I go if we've prepared food, bring it quickly, kwa meza, nini nini. And the other conversation that followed were, there's a reservation with that. How I was used to doing it with my brothers. This is how we just, we're very familiar with each other. And at some point that would also affect the way I welcome him at home, the way, there's also how he was used to living alone. So that also had to change. Now there's someone, you're coming home to someone, you're not just coming in to yourself the way you used to. So those are some of the things that no one will teach you, because some experiences are different. Even the person that will talk to you before coming in, there's how they do it. So those are some things will even shock you. Some want kisses when they come in the house and you're not used to it. Sasa kwanza welcome, you're at the door, you're picking the bag. I would find some of those things funny, because that is not how uh, our house was. But that is just some of the things that made him feel loved, that makes him feel like, you know what, I belong to this space. Some people wake up in the morning and they want, you know, hi, how are you? How did you sleep? There's the morning kisses. Sasa, if you're coming from a house that isn't as warm as that, then adjusting is not also easy, but you have to. Adjusting is not easy, but you have to accept that this is now your reality. This is now the life that you need to, this is now the life that you're going to live for the rest of your life. Some consider correcting openly disrespectful. To others, it is normal. I also learned that I cannot just talk anyhowly, anywhere. No, there's some things I'll see. We are in the midst of a conversation and there are people around us, and there's something he will say, and I would really want to correct that. But now marriage has taught me it has to wait when it's just two of you so that you can talk. There are very many mistakes I made and he also made, and we will argue. We come back in the house is heated, and he'd be like, you were not supposed to talk to me like that in front of people. And I'd be like, but it was a mistake, just accept it. Hey, the ego part of human beings, no one wants to understand where the other was coming from. But those are things I also needed to calm down and just understand, you know, this is a man, this is how their ego operates. There's also how respect is earned, and if I'm the one to keep correcting in front of people, then it wouldn't look nice. So who would have taught me these things? Only experience brings lessons, because every day there are new things that keep coming up, things that you're not prepared for, things that yeah. So marriage forces you to grow in a to adapt in a culture you did not grow in. Things like tone, habits, you know, gestures, just things that you never thought mattered actually matter in marriage. And if these things are ignored, then they turn to irritation, then arguments after arguments. And that is not the kind of marriage you want for yourself, because you will not enjoy. And no one wants to be in a place that is silent, a place that is full of cases. You know, every day it's something new coming up. It's either you did this, you spoke to me like this, you were disrespectful here. So that leads us to communication and tone. The way you speak, the tone you use, the kind of gesture you apply, all of these things matter. There are jokes that feel normal to you but actually hurt your partner. My husband used to tell me many times that I do not understand jokes. It's not that I did not understand jokes. There are those kind of jokes that come out as offensive. And that is, if you take a look at the kind of jokes he used to do, if he's with his fellow male friends, those jokes don't hurt them at all. They would laugh about it. Yani, they'll just have a very good time with those kind of jokes. But when they land on me, I feel like I've been attacked. I feel like, you know what, this is not what I signed up for. Then we turn that into an argument. Yani, so he had to also learn that there are those kind of jokes I cannot accept, because I also come from a background that throws jokes differently. So here, coming to this other side of, you know, this is how I joke. He would be like, this is how I joke. So how am I supposed to just digest how you joke in a span of just 1 year or 6 months, and there's this other part of my life that I've lived and I've not been joked at like that. So these are things you just learn along the way. And trust you me, at this point in marriage, the arguments are so hot. You just argue. Every small thing becomes an argument. So marriage forces you how to land words, not just speak. Not you have to think, not every time, but most times you'll learn how to just think of how these words will impact my partner before landing them to him or her. And these things takes patience and adjustments. You just don't get it all together in 1 month, 1 year, 2 year. Every day you learn. It just gets better with time. If that's the word I can use, it gets better with time. Let us also talk about expectations and reality. Hey. Every bride, every groom, there's how you want your marriage to look like. There's a picture you've painted and created in your mind. This how I used to think things will look like. I'll wake up every morning, prepare breakfast. I'll never leave the sink dirty. I'll always wash clothes after shower. There will not be, he will never find a bulk of clothes somewhere just hanging. There's this, the kind of marriage I had created in my mind, guys. It was I'm still not yet there, but I'm still creating the kind of marriage I had. I'm not giving up on that dream, but the reality on ground was very different. I was expecting every morning is Cinderella, every night is Cinderella with him. I knew every day we will just be on the couch, cuddling, watching movies, coffee on the table. The kind of marriage you see on movies. That one. So people marry with hopes and dreams. But what happens if these expectations are not spoken? What happens? If there are things you don't like doing, what happens if you've not spoken about these things to your partner? If you do not like washing the dishes, I'm not going to generalize this, but mostly in Africa, in an African setup, there's how they talk to us as we go to, marriage. There's also how men are talked at. There are those conversations that men are given before getting married. You're supposed to provide. You're supposed to be the lion of the house. A woman is down, you're up. There's the godly conversations, then there's the African conversation, then there's the worldly conversations. And all these things together. If these things are not spoken, these realities, these expectations are not spoken to your partner, achana na wale wenye wanakuongelesha wanakuambia kunafaa kukue hivi na hivi. If you and your partner haven't really spoken about these things before getting married, the reality on ground is going to hit you guys very hard. If I'm not one to wash dishes every night, then this man that I'm married to doesn't want sink yake yetu, tuseme ni yetu sasa, ibaki na vyombo usiku. What happens to me? Do I become a bad wife? Maybe he's coming from a household that after every dinner, nothing, sleeps. Maybe this person is used to just being on their phone 24 hours. Then Mimi, as a wife, or you as a husband, you really, what really matters to you is quality time, especially when you are in the house. So imagine a house where most of the time is being spent on phone, and you're just there waiting on this partner to talk to you. So if these expectations are not met, they start while you guys are still dating. You have to have constant meetups with this person to really read their patterns. When you guys are serious on a date, are they concentrating on you, or are they concentrating on their phones? Where is their minds at? So I expect this: when we get married, you're not going to stay on your phone the way you used to. You're going to create time for your phone and time for me. But if you do not speak about this and wait mwende kuongelelea kwa ndoa, what becomes of you? What becomes of you? I would have wanted to use so many examples. Yes, let me use this. This is very important. We are told as African, women, usiwai nyima bwana yako. In English, it's the translation is never deny your husband sex. Whenever they ask for it, you're supposed to give them sex. So imagine if you're getting married to a man that does not understand that women have phases in their cycle, and there are those phases where the hormones are not at it. The hormones will not cooperate. They will not want sex. There are those days when the woman is dry. The woman is not sexually active. What happens to you? What happens to your marriage during these days if the man was not aware? Do not assume that you're getting married to someone that knows it all. There are men that do not know these things. There are men that do not know these things. So our aunties, and just, these people that tell us, usinyime, peana. Yani give. If you go with that mindset in marriage, then you just give and give even when you're not okay, and you will not speak about it because you were told to speak, not to give and give. Does that make you a good wife? What happens on days when you will experience burnout and you cannot give? Sexual burnout, and you cannot give it to him. Then you start telling yourself, I'm a bad wife. Anxiety now kicks in. Now what if he goes out and seeks it from someone else? Now the man will be like, you know what? If this person actually is not intelligent enough to try and understand, to try, not even to try, to get involved and be concerned on whether their wife is actually enjoying sex every time they do it. There are these questions you ask each other. And there's how you will know when your person is enjoying. So on those days when she's quiet and she's not at it, will you still continue as a man? No. That is the reality that kicks in. Now what happens to you as a man? You don't go out to cheat. You don't speak ill of your woman. That is the time you sit down and really get to know this woman. Why were you not very interested in sex today? Using the language that you will using a very beautiful language like babe or whatever name you'd want to call your wife. Why are you not in the mood today? Get to know your woman's body. Get to understand how it operates. But before you get to that, in between, there's the cycle of, you did not give it to me well today. Then the woman will be like, I was feeling hurt. You do not care about how I feel. You do not care if I'm not in the mood. You just want to have, yani, before you get to, now I want to understand your body, there will be, you did not, you did, you did not, you did. No one warns you about these things. No one. Another example is tidiness and untidiness. Talk about it before marriage. There are those, I don't know if it changes, but there's something with men, most men, with socks. You'll find socks chinia under the seat, under the cushions, just thrown anywhere. This is how tidy we want our houses to look as women. And there's what tidiness looks like to men, most men. I don't want to generalize because there are men that actually love doing the, cleaning. And so if you cannot openly say, you know what, I would prefer when you remove these socks, when you shower, this is where I want you to put your towel, this is where I want you to put dirty clothes. Do not mix clean and dirty laundry together. These things have to be spoken out loudly. They have to. You will speak. The beautiful part of speaking about these things before marriage is you'll just be referring to what you said, what you discussed before marriage. When these things happen in marriage, itakuwa kama makumbusho. You know what? But we said this. But this is what we agreed. So every time there's a mistake and you guys go back, then it rings by the way. So the conversations you had before marriage will act as a reference book when these things repeat themselves, keep repeating themselves. And let me warn you, it will repeat. Your partner is not going to be perfect in a single day just because you've complained about it. These things will keep repeating themselves until it gets to a point where they have actually understood and made it easier for you. The important part is speaking about everything and understanding that expectations are very different from reality. Don't expect to walk in marriage and just having it smooth because you talked about them, because you told your partner, this is not what I want, this is what I want, I will not tolerate this, I will go with an open mind, because you're not marrying to an angel and you're not marrying an angel. You're marrying a person that is prone to mistakes, a person that is going to learn, but not learn in a single day. Don't go expecting roses and flowers only. There are days when the thorn will sting painfully. There are days when the flower will blossom. There are days when the flower will dry. Even when you water it, it's still drying, but that doesn't stop you from watering that flower.